And today we're going to be talking with you about mindfulness for stress and anxiety, mindfulness for mental health. So, welcome everybody.
Welcome, everyone. Such an important topic.
Yes, absolutely. Very relevant, very important. So, let's kick off the discussion by first discussing what is mindfulness? What does that mean?
Oh, such a deep question, Lindsay, to start right off. I think it'll be easier for me to just talk about the brain. But
Well, thanks
as
for
a
bringing it up.
physician, I know they are connected. Absolutely. Welcome again, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy February. Happy snow day for those of us on the East Coast. So, mindfulness. When I think of mindfulness, the first thing that comes to mind is being present, being in the moment and being in your skin, so to speak, and bringing awareness to that point in time. We are very caught up in thinking through our to do list or what did I not do, our I didn't do lists. We are very much into thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow. What do I have to prepare for next week? Some of us are actually stuck in the past and thinking about what was. And being mindful is really being aware of your current, being aware of your now, being able to tap into the messages that your body is naturally giving you at one point in time, which is the present point in time. And that requires you to take all your senses, your sight, touch, taste, smell, and align them and allow yourself to not be distracted by external forces. So being mindful actually requires I think more effort than where we're normally stuck in, which is just I'm just going to go with the flow. Whatever comes, comes. Yes, exactly. And some people, we're so rotary. Oh my God, I did that without thinking about what I was doing because we weren't kind of in that present moment. We were trying to either balance 50 million things or having a conversation while we're talking on the phone and so on and so forth. So I think that's a long definition. But again, if I go back to my first statement, mindfulness is being present in the moment, aligning all your senses in the now, and allowing your internal person, your internal clock, so to speak to you.
Mm, yes, I love
That's
that.
mindfulness for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, and I would add, and I love the definition from John Kabat-Zinn, and we were just discussing him.
Just as,
He's a
yes, we were.
mindfulness researcher who started the mindfulness-based stress reduction course that you can find at Jefferson Hospital, Penn University,
Yep.
and part of Penn Hospital. And he defines mindfulness as paying attention on purpose in the present moment with non-judgmental awareness.
Equity, equanimous mind. So, so true. No judgment. Just be. Whatever is. And just accept it for what it is. There's another level to that definition. I'm going to add, since we're quoting people, which I love doing. Deepak Chopra talks about mindfulness and being present, and he talks about it as the state of consciousness that is the highest is the state of inquiry.
Mm.
And when we're mindful, we almost allow ourselves to let our bodies ask an actual question, and our internal self answers it. We don't have to search. We're still and then we know because the body has this innate nature of knowing. Oh, there we go. Be still and know. I use knowing. I didn't even do that on purpose. That just flowed right in. I love it. So when we have that higher level of consciousness, we're able to be mindful in the most natural sense. And as you said, it's with purpose. It's on purpose.
Mhm.
We're calm when we do it. And we're not judging because we're just allowing the thoughts to come to mind. And we're kind of carving out that space and time in order for that to happen. So, two great quotes from two amazing mindfulness people. And yeah, love it.
Yeah, and I love what you said because what Deepak and also a lot of these wonderful mindfulness teachers like Tara Brach and Jack Cornfield, I mean, there's so many, but
There's
they
so
talk about
many.
this spaciousness
Yes.
that is created, and that spaciousness is within us, but we get so bogged down
Yes.
all of the distractions, and those distractions could be the thoughts that
Yes.
are in our head. Researchers have found we've got 60,000 thoughts per day about.
Absolutely. About. And that's just average. We're just averaging it there.
And that's a lot of internal, stuff going on in the head. But then we've got, like you said, the to-do lists.
Yes.
What we've got to do for work, what we've got to do for our family, what we've got to do for ourselves.
Absolutely. The boxes that we need to check off continually and constantly, that list is in our heads. And research, I love that you mentioned that, but science is finally catching up to that. So we have, for those individuals who are skeptical, and yes, as a scientist, interestingly enough, though, I kind of just knew it before I went to med school. But there are a lot of us that are very science-based, and we want to see the research. And the research is really supporting all those facts that we are so inundated with stimuli that we never have a moment to actually consciously, that's the difference. To consciously do it and on purpose is to elect to sit, be still, and listen. Select to sit, to be still, to listen, and then not judge. Can't leave the equanimity out of that, and to not judge. With all the thoughts that we have bombarding us just by the to-dos and our internal thoughts and our internal checklists, a great way to kind of start that journey of mindfulness, I'll just go ahead and use the bridge into being mindful, is to focus on one thing. Try to focus on one thing, right? And what science has shown is that you don't need to do it for a long period of time. You can do it for 5 minutes. But that over time, it's a training process. It's a muscle. It's a muscle that you work. So we were inertly born with it, but we kind of lost it along the way because life got in the way. Mm-hmm. So we need to just reground ourselves and gain it back. And I do not know any person who has not benefited from a mindful practice on one level or another. And it comes in so many forms. I think you and I, Lindsay, can talk about it for days. There's so many things you can focus on. You can use music, you can use art, you can use a mantra, you can use your breath, which is what I like because your breath goes with you everywhere. And different modalities don't negate the other. You can use a counting system in your head. It's really about finding the time, putting it aside. My suggestion is always to try to have it at the same time every day so that it becomes practice. And slowly but surely, it will not happen overnight. You will notice that your body not only falls into a natural rhythm, it's going to then ask for more time. It's going to change your flow throughout the day. You might even want to do it more than once a day, but then it's going to become this essential part of your life that you wondered, what did I do before I had the mindfulness practice? You become this different person and you become aware of the beauty and the fullness that your life has. What I love to suggest for people as a start, because it not only makes you more mindful, but it also changes your frequency. That's another quote from another person. We can talk about that another day. But with mindfulness, you can change your frequency. What I love to do is first thing in the morning, in my moment of mindfulness, sit on the edge of the bed, think of one thing that I'm grateful for, just the one, and sit in it. Take a couple of breaths. Think of that thought that elevates my frequency right away. And for people who don't connect with frequency, it makes me feel good inside. I'm just much more positive. I'm grateful for that awesome piece of red velvet cake that I had 2 weeks ago before I started my 21-day cleansing challenge. But anyway, or the lavender donut. So grateful for it. And there's just a smile that goes across my face. And then I focus on my breath. And I give myself about 10 breaths. Then I go into my day. But it becomes such a different start to the day than got the alarm, don't feel good because I have a chronic illness. And sometimes, I inevitably wake up in pain every day. It shifts my focus to something that is like a warm hug that someone gives me. And I'm able to be in my own self or in my mind, because we're talking about mindfulness, and connect to that space. Take a moment to be still, be purposeful, be present, be non judgmental. And then the rest of the day is a piece of cake.
I love that. So if you roll out of bed on the wrong side of the bed, right,
Right.
there's a way to
Right.
address
There
that. And that
is.
could be a couple minutes of mindfulness.
There you go.
And that leads us into talking about how can mindfulness impact stress, anxiety, depression, and any other mental health barriers we might be facing right now, because we're looking at a lot of large scale collective change happening, and it has been happening over the past year, which is deeply affecting people's mental health and how they're showing up and how they're relating and how they're working through their challenges. So how can mindfulness be a tool for this sort of situation?
First of all, I love the word tool because I think we are human beings that when we have tools accessible to us and people can present those tools to us, we can tap into them quite readily and use them and see the benefits. I'm going to reiterate what you said. We are in a day and age where mental health and wellness is finally a topic of conversation that is mainstream, much more than it used to be. And thank goodness for that, because it is not a new problem. But the situation that we find ourselves in for multiple reasons has heightened that issue and problem. And you and I have seen quite some, devastation occurring because of mental challenges. So when it comes to mindfulness and mental health, I think I consider mindfulness an investment on your mental health, because you can use it to improve your mental health, to almost level the plane, so that you are then reducing, using those proper tools, you're reducing the stress, reducing the anxiety, because you're actually training your body physiologically. Again, the research, love being able to say that the research supports it. You are physiologically lowering your heart rate, lowering your blood pressure, increasing your blood circulation, decreasing inflammation, increasing natural killer cells. So therefore decreasing the opportunity for infections, because you're boosting your immune system. So in that sense of being able to sit, because also when you think of being able to sit and breathe and lowering all those things, when we're stressed, the factors that are increased are usually our heart rate, our blood pressure. We fall more into chronic diseases. Same thing with anxiety. You'll find that people are sweating, they're dry at the mouth, they're panting. They can't have a continuous thought. So when you use this tool to quiet the body down, even for a few minutes, when you think about it, as you average the few, better to have 5 minutes of none, of quietness, than to not have had that 5 minutes, and it just kind of adds to the pile, so to speak. So adds to the deleterious effects of what stress exactly and all this is going on. So that the minute you feel angst, for instance, you're able to say, okay, my breath, let me try to go back to that breath. Let me try to go back to that tool. Try to go back to that training. That muscle memory becomes very, very quick. And then what you're doing is whatever you said in your mind, you're then sending the internal message to your body, and it automatically responds. That's why I kind of gave that gratitude tip at the beginning, because the body, your mind, does not realize that gratitude a moment is not actually happening right now. That's why I love the mind so much. So if you journal, or when you think about it, all those happy endorphins, your mind is actually making your body think it's happening right then and there, right again. So you instantaneously, I get so happy talking about health stuff. Can you tell? Anyway, you instantaneously get the physiological benefits that come with that mindful practice.